He's Derek. She's Romaine. This is Derek and Romaine.
2.0, bitches! Hello, bitches! I'm Romaine.
Allegedly.
He's Derek.
That's right.
Together we're Derek and Romaine.
We are once again not live. We're still
What?
alive.
What?
Proof.
Where are we?
Let this show be a proof of life that Derek and Romaine are still around and here to entertain you. We have a terrific guest on today's show, Mike Maimone. He is a singer-songwriter, handsome.
He is
talented.
handsome. Oh, he's so very handsome.
Here's Romaine like, maybe I'm not quite a lesbian. Maybe I should get on Scrubs.
He's a nice looking piece of man meat. I'm just going to say it. I can say that because I'm a lesbian, but he's a good looking guy.
I will not argue with you on this point.
Yeah.
He is handsome and talented
and
singer.
sensitive. Oh, he's
Lord.
sensitive.
This is what Romaine's looking for in a man, a willingness to cry.
Yeah,
you know
maybe.
what? At least he will not scare you like your wife does, like lurking around the corner, waiting to jump you in terror.
Well, so you can see me
Yes,
right now, Derek, because we're on video and we're talking to each other. And so Derek can actually see me. And so the door that's behind me in the corner, that's the door that she sneaks up on from behind and she scares the shit out of me. So you can see when I'm in here and I'm recording or I'm working, I can't see her at all. Like she straight up sneaks up on me and scares the shit out of me all the time.
Mike, as we learned in the interview with him, is a quarter Italian. And Italians will tell you, you never sit with your back to the door. That's danger.
I know. I don't know what I'm thinking.
What I don't understand is how egotistical bitches such as ourselves do not have mirrors that we stare directly into while we do our shows. And therefore, you would be able to see if somebody was sneaking up behind you because they would be in your visual distance in the mirror.
Well, maybe I will add a mirror so I can sit here and stare at my gorgeous face. It's so beautiful. I'll stare. Yeah. I'll stare at my gorgeous
That's right.
face,
Just two
and
faces
I'll
for
see
radio,
her
staring at themselves.
That's right. Hello, I am the fairest of them all. Thank you, magic mirror on my wall.
No, probably not.
No?
Anyway, we will talk to him about his music and his book. He's multi-talented. He's written a book and he writes songs and he performs, he plays the guitar, the whole thing. He will tell us all about his mixed reality coming up. But speaking of singers, Romaine, we're on the road, but I did want to talk about this thing that happened recently, and that is related to music before we get to Mike. So the Morrissey, the singer, he was recently booked in Valencia, Spain, where we were last year. Remember when we did the transatlantic cruise? Valencia was wonderful.
Yes,
I thought it was just going to be like
there,
Los Angeles. There would just be people on the side of the road with bags of oranges. But it turns out, no, it was lovely. There was a lot going on. But he was doing this concert, the Las Fallas Festival. And so they booked him at a hotel there in Valencia, Spain to perform at the festival. And the town, because of the festival, and then the hotel was like right downtown, I guess. Valencia is not a huge place. Apparently, it was very noisy all night long. And so Morrissey, who was supposed to perform at the festival, canceled his performance and said that the hotel was so noisy that he is going to need a year to recover. A year.
Oh, a year. What is that about?
Most of the comments online were, Morrissey cancels another concert? What a shock. Because, infamous. Like, I don't think there is a performer who has ever, in modern recorded history, canceled as many concerts as Morrissey has. And as somebody who tried to see Morrissey in concert once, and the concert ended after like 4 songs, and he went back to the hotel. I myself have also experienced the Lucy with a football aspect of you want to go and see Morrissey in concert and good luck. because it's probably not going to happen. Can you
Mhm.
believe that shit?
No. I can.
Yeah, but also,
I
you know
can
what?
because
Derek
he's
and Romaine
infamous
go
for
on the
this
road
shit.
all the
So that
time.
doesn't surprise me at all.
And we have stayed in hotels that were noisy. We have had to have
We do.
dinner at a 7-Eleven more than once. Romaine always talks about
Yes, we
that
have.
hotel in Phoenix where we
Yes, we
stayed that had
have.
hookers out front, even though I keep reminding her the hookers were across the street in front of the sex shop, not directly in front of the hotel. But even still, we've stayed in dodgy places. Romaine is always checking for bed bugs. But you know what? You know who never cancels on those performances? Derek and
Man.
Romaine. That's right.
Derek and Romaine.
Yeah. And even
We
with our
always show up where
show,
we're supposed to
if
be.
there's no internet or no
Usually.
electricity, that's the
Mostly.
only reason we're not there. Or we physically. Oh,
Yeah. And even then,
these
we're fucking
egotistical
annoyed by it
hags
because
with
we're
their
actually
mirrors that they
there. We
stare
just
into
can't
while
do
they
our
do their
fucking
show.
show, and it's
They couldn't
annoying.
possibly miss a show, except for, of course, the show that we're missing right now because we're on the ocean.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I
But we're
feel like
still
we're Con
working.
Ed. We're working for you, even if you
Even
don't
when
feel
we're
like
not
we're always
working, we're
working
still
for you.
working. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, hello. Obviously, we're still working. We're recording this show even when we're gone to take a day off because we don't want our listeners to miss even a
That's
second
right.
of
Don't
Derek
wanna
and
close my
Romaine. We
eyes.
want them to have us all the
Don't
time,
wanna miss
every
a
day,
thing.
all in all the ways.
Yeah.
We're givers, Derek.
Unlike that, Morrissey.
We're kind.
I know.
We're thoughtful.
Now, here's the thing, though.
Caring
I do
even.
wonder about this with
Ugh,
Morrissey.
God, that makes me sick just saying all
like
those things.
with these
Blah.
concerts, because obviously he has done some concerts. Somebody has seen him in concert in the last 40 years. But what I just wonder
Yeah.
is at this point, if people get their tickets for his concert
Sure.
on the off chance that they'll actually be able to tell people, I went to a Morrissey concert and he performed the whole concert. Like the bragging rights associated with being able to actually be at an
And he actually
entire
showed
Morrissey
up.
concert.
But why would you spend money on like I don't understand if because he's got a bad reputation for this. He's constantly cutting out early. He's constantly canceling.
Yeah. So
Like,
my experience with the Morrissey concert.
why would you
so
even
this
take
was
the
quite
risk?
some
At a
time
certain
ago. I
point,
was
wouldn't you
working
just
at a
be
drug
like,
clinic.
yeah, nah.
You know, those who can do, those who can't teach. So I was working at a drug clinic, and this a clinician who worked there, Nancy, she had I was young. I was 21, 22. I was young, probably, and she had a daughter who was
Okay.
18, 19. And her daughter wanted to go to the concert, and Nancy did not feel comfortable with her daughter going alone to
Okay.
a Morrissey concert. And since I was obviously a homosexual and close enough in age to her daughter, and I had met her
Okay.
daughter, like she had come by the office, whatever, to drop things off or whatever. So I had met her daughter, and she's a very nice young lady. And so Nancy was like, well, you know what? I would feel more comfortable if you went with, a responsible party. And so Nancy asked me, she's like, I'll pay for the ticket, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Will you basically escort my daughter to this concert she wants to go to? Yes, and actually, I mean, it was like Nancy was a very smart lady,
It's very
and
thoughtful.
I see how this was a very practical solution for her, right? Because it wasn't like, hey, 40-year-old pervert, take my daughter to this concert. We were
Right.
relatively close in age, relatively speaking. So even for her daughter, like the two of us being at the concert together was not going to look weird,
Right.
and it wasn't like I was the only gay guy there with a woman at the Morrissey concert, for crying out loud. Anyway. So we went to the concert and we were sort of offsides a little bit. It was in some kind of like a sports stadium kind of a venue, where there was like a stage at one end, and then there was like elevated seating that was like permanent, like concrete seats, right? And then there was a floor where they had floor seating that was all flat. We've all been to concerts in these kinds of sport venues. Anyway, so Morrissey does this thing in his concert. So we're up, like pretty close, but offsides in the bleacher section. And Morrissey says, "Oh, you know what? It's a capitalist nightmare that people have to pay different prices for different tickets." And so I want everybody who wants to be down in front to just come down in front. Don't let the man tell you how to live. Don't let capitalism dictate the quality of your experience, whatever his. Yeah. So of course, hundreds of people
Okay, this
rushed to the
sounds like
front of
a
the stage.
fucking nightmare.
And before I could say or do anything, Nancy's daughter goes, "I'm going to get to the front of the stage," and dashes off down the thing, down onto the floor. So now there's a huge rush of people out of the floor. It's a melee. Security can't keep because they had the little
Terrifying.
stanchions with the security guards between the stage and the crowd. The stanchions fall. The security guards are trapped. Everybody's smashed up against the stage. Whatever. It's the whole thing. Lights come on. Security takes Morrissey off the stage. And then they're like, "Everyone leave. This is an unsafe environment. Get out." So the concert's over. Everyone has to leave. And yes, of course.
Good job, Morrissey.
So now I have been entrusted with Nancy's daughter.
And by the way, was this before cell phones?
And now Nancy's daughter is missing in a concert melee. Like literally they are people are injured. They have some paramedics coming. I was like, oh my God. Because people are, crushed in the crowd, whatever. I was like, oh, this little girl. And she was like a waifish little, teenager. She was like Romy Pie Pants. She was tall, but she weighed like 4 pounds. She's a waifish little girl. And I was like, oh my God, Nancy is going to fucking kill me. She has one daughter. She trusted me with her daughter. And now her daughter is missing, presumed dead at a Morrissey concert. Nancy's worst fears have come true. Anyway, I waited outside. Eventually, I found her outside. But there was a merch booth that was robbed, demolished. It was just pieces of wood on the ground. People they were so mad. They just wrecked the whole thing. Anyway, but while I was there waiting for her, there were other people milling around, waiting for their friends and everything. And one of them was like, he did the same thing yesterday in San Diego. I was afraid this would happen. I was like, are you kidding me? I think he just didn't want to do the concert. And so he's just like, I'm going to create a diversion and then just go back to the hotel where hopefully I will get a restful night's sleep where it will not be too noisy. I think he's an agent of chaos, that Morrissey. Anyway, he might be. Well, there's no use crying about it because we have a fantastic interview.
He might be
with Mike Maimone coming up next here on Derek and Romaine.
More Derek and Romaine next.
Derek here along with Romaine, and joining us now, our guest is Mike Maimone. He is the author of Guess What? I Love You.
I love you too.
Wow.
Romaine, this isn't. Yeah,
it's
Romaine,
not about me.
You. No.
Oh, okay, sorry. It's about Mike. You're right.
But as usual, we will make this as much about ourselves as humanly possible. He is also a singer-songwriter, and he has a companion album also called Guess What? I Love You. And you can check it all out on his website, MikeMaimonemusic.com, and Mike Maimone Music on Instagram and Facebook. Mike, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Now, I have, ever since we had a young pop star on our show 20 years ago named Anna Nalick, and I mispronounced her name, Anna Nalick, 10 times to the point where she started screaming her last name at me during the interview, quite notoriously. Oh, yeah, Romaine remembers. Thank God she did not become Lady Gaga. Anyway, but she, I'm sure, still hates me after all this time. So it's important to me to, try to pronounce people's names correctly. And so before this interview, I went online. This again, here we are making it all about ourselves. We'll get to you in a second, Mike. So beforehand, though, I was like, well, I will go online and I will look up, the pronunciation videos and everything. And I will watch an interview with him to see how his name is pronounced. So I watched an interview with you, and the interviewer obviously also is stressed out about pronouncing your last name. So I feel not alone in this. And then at the end, he asked oh, where can people see your stuff? And you mentioned your Instagram, And then I noticed something interesting in the way that you say your name,
Okay.
which was different, which is obviously Mike has a hard consonant at the end. But I found your pronunciation of your own name very lyrical. You are a singer-songwriter, and you pronounced it Mike Maimone music. And I
Oh,
found that where you put the accent to be interesting and musical. So I just noticed that about you, and
and
I thought I would
it's
mention it.
Italian, and Italian is a very musical language. Maimone.
Makes sense.
Is that how you introduce yourself when you walk into a room?
Absolutely. I tend to just announce it, sing it. People hate me for that.
I doubt that seriously. No. Do you? How Italian are you going here? Are you also using a lot of hands? Like, what's going on?
No, I'm only a quarter. I'm a Euro mutt. I got the Italian is just taking up a small portion in here.
Okay, so just a little hand.
A Euro mutt. I like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
That's funny.
So let's talk about your book and your companion music that goes on with it. Tell us about your inspiration here.
Well, it's a tribute to my late husband Howard. All the ways that he changed my life when he entered it, and then again just a year later when he passed away. And so it started out wanting to memorialize my time with him, having met, and I don't throw this word around lightly. I actually did not believe in it, but I do feel now he's my soulmate, and we met for a reason, and that reason was extremely heavy. I think it was to be the person for him that was holding him as he passed on, and to know that he was experiencing true love, and if that's my role on the planet, then that's something that I feel honored to have done. But then for me, it just left me feeling like I dropped off the edge of a cliff, and I knew that my memories would fade. And so I wanted to just memorialize our time together in the best way that I can, which is through music. And then I started thinking after his memorial service, some of my friends had come to be there for me, and we're all just sitting there, and I'm in shock. And one of my friends, Shantika, said, "You know, you just lived like a Lifetime movie or like a Hallmark movie. Like, like, hate to say it, but you have a beginning, a middle, and an end here, and you should do like a documentary about Howard or something." And so I sat down to kind of help preserve Howard's legacy. And one of his producer friends said, "You know, that's like a 10-year project for you. You should just write a book in the meantime." And so I ended up telling the world about Howard through the lens of our love story.
So, for people who don't know who Howard is, because some of our audience, they hear the name Howard, but they may not know that we're talking about Howard Bragman. So, tell everyone a little bit about Howard.
I mean, he's such a large
people know?
person. It's hard to break it down into a soundbite. But the thing that he's most known for is that he started his first publicity company on the foundation of helping LGBTQ celebrities, gay rights, AIDS awareness, because this was 1989. And so while he was told he was crazy because no like A-listers or corporations or any of the people that would keep the lights on in the business would want to associate with someone who was speaking up for these issues, he went ahead and did it anyway. And so he spent his entire career doing these pro bono tasks for people in our community. Helping LGBTQ celebrities come out was essential because it increases our visibility, which is our greatest asset in our community.
And we had Howard Bragman on our show several times, and he put out a book. I actually went to try to find it today. Romaine and I both recently moved, and so our lives are still chaos. Big surprise to our listeners, our lives are constantly chaos. But anyway, but I went to try to find it because I moved and I downsized, but I saved all the books from people that I knew and like signed books and everything. So I know I have his 15 minutes book around here somewhere. I just I was so excited I was going to wave it at you on Zoom, and now I can't find it. So anyway, but we had Howard on the show several times, and he was really, really a lovely person. And so I think it's great that you are showing the side of him because, publicists are really about highlighting other people, not themselves. So it's good that you're basically being Howard's publicist now in a lot of ways.
Like no pressure, right? It's trying to be the publicist for one of the best that ever did it. So.
And so, you previously obviously had been a singer-songwriter for quite some time. You started writing music in high school, and so you have been at this for a while. But writing a book is different than writing a song. So, how did you feel about the challenge of writing a book?
I think going into it without any expectations helped me uh, because I had been around studios and songwriting bands for so long. I kind of already knew the process as I was getting started in it. But a book is such a solitary venture that I didn't have like engineers or producers or bandmates or anybody to sort of bounce these things off of. So I just started and I didn't have any expectations for it. For me, it was an exercise in, like I said, just sort of memorializing my experience with Howard. And so it came from this place of honesty and brutal honesty in some places, and it was excruciating at times. But as it evolved and turned into a book, I just kept hearing Howard telling me like you have to tell the story. He was such a great storyteller and weaver of narratives himself that I needed to do it justice and explore all the painful moments and get it all on the page. And then eventually I showed some chapters to a college friend of mine who's a writer. And I said, "What do you think?" And he said, "You can absolutely do this." And he kind of gave me some structure tips along the way. And so that was essential to help me finish it.
That's awesome. So tell
Yeah.
me a little bit about your love story because I don't know
We
a lot
met on
about it.
Scruff.
So how did you
So
meet?
this is for, I'm guessing most of your listeners know what
Of
that is,
course
but
you
if they
did. I love
don't,
it.
it's a hookup app. I don't know that I would go so far as to call it a dating app. I think it's just, we all know why we're there. And so he was in Los Angeles,
Yeah.
and at the time, this was 2022, I was living in Nashville. I'd been there for about years, pandemic time, so it didn't totally count. But I was still feeling like I was kind of to a good start in Music City and making good relationships and playing good shows. So I felt like this is where I was going to be. And then I get this message on Scruff. Howard was coming to Nashville to represent a client. She's a trans woman by the name of Olivia Hill, and she had been fired or so she had a really difficult time at the Vanderbilt University power plant. And so she was in a lawsuit with them. Um, and Howard was going to come in and do his PR. So he was sort of scouting ahead, finding guys in the area. And my profile came up and we started chatting. But then he didn't need to come to Nashville. He did his job well enough that Vanderbilt sold. And we had already started this sort of pen pal, phone pal, long distance thing. We talked on the phone every day until I could finally get away from Nashville. And we met up in New York about 2 months after we first chatted. Yeah. So in that,
Nice. And then was it love
it was,
immediately
well,
or
it was
was it
both.
just hot
But
sex
it
and
was
then it slowly grew into love?
interesting that we couldn't touch each other for like 2.5 months. And, you meet somebody online and there's chemistry and all you want to do is get together. But his schedule was busy, my schedule was busy. We're 2,000 miles apart. And so in the meantime, we fell in love just over the phone. And we would, FaceTime and we watched like movies together. We watched March Madness together. So by the time we met, it felt like we had known each other for so long. And then when the physical chemistry was there, it was signed, sealed, delivered. We were definitely a thing.
Were you at all worried after 2 months that the physical part might not be there?
No, because there's that longing, when you can't actually be in the same room with someone that you're vibing with. It was like we knew that the physical attraction was there. That I was just excited to finally get my hands on him.
Okay. Now, one of the things that you
That's
did,
amazing.
which I think will
I love
be
that.
helpful for our listeners, and maybe even for Romaine, is you embarked on a year of yes, which relates to this. So, talk about what spurred you into doing yes, and
Good
what
question.
spurred you into it.
So I
Yeah,
was
what's a year of
engaged to a
yes?
man for we were together almost 7 years, and we were engaged for about 4 of that, which I didn't think was a red flag at the time, but it really was. I talk about that a little bit in the book. And when we finally broke off the engagement, my friend Shantika, she's my like guiding star from Chicago, and we got on the phone, and I'm crying, like, I can't believe it. I thought this was my forever person. She's like, well, it may have started that way, but relationships evolve, and just because they don't last forever doesn't mean they weren't valuable and they weren't good, building blocks and life lessons. So she said, now you just need a year of yes. Just open your mind. My partner and I were monogamous. She's like, you need to have sex with men. Go sleep with guys you aren't intending to marry. Just have fun. Get yourself out there. And I'm definitely a relationship guy. So I had to go on Scruff and start looking for guys that weren't local. Maybe they were married and open, all of the no strings attached type things, because I am a lover and I find myself falling in love. So I did that, and I was doing this year of yes. I traveled. I was a hoe for a little while, and that led me to Howard and taking a chance on someone who lives 2,000 miles away. I was thinking I wanted somebody in my age range, having dated older, younger, my age, and I thought, I want a companion who is in my generation. So I had all of these things in mind that, like, this is what I'm looking for when it happens. And the year of yes mentality is to just open yourself up to possibilities. It's like a possibilities mindset. And so when Howard came along and my intuition was telling me this guy's really special, you guys really click, you should go down this path, even though there were so many things there that made me put up walls, I'm really glad that those walls came down pretty fast.
Okay. And
It makes sense. But I mean, because of the age difference, because Howard was older than you, and obviously your relationship didn't get to go on for a long time because of Howard's passing, do you feel robbed a little bit? Do you feel angry? Like, how do you feel about it? Because you finally find someone that you really have that vibe, you have that
Robbed and
magic, you have
angry
all those things with,
definitely
and then it's
are two
gone so
words that I would
fast.
use to describe it. It was shock at first, and from his diagnosis to his passing was only about 10 days. And so it was
Mm-hmm.
shocking, and it really felt like, not like the rug had been pulled out from underneath me, but more like my legs had been cut off. It was just like completely debilitating. I was having panic attacks, anxiety attacks.
Right.
So shock was first, sadness, obviously, feeling like I was missing out on just beginning the happily ever after of my life, and then anger. And I think that
Mm-hmm.
I'm very grateful and lucky that I have creativity to help me work through these things. Because without the music, crying over my computer, like putting ideas down, without the book, I really don't know what I would have done. I was in a very dark place, and creating this art is the thing that I use to pull myself out of it.
So what
It's
is the
all of
vibe of
it.
the music? Is it
Yeah, I
sad?
wanted
Is
it
it
to be
angry? Like
the
what are we
whole
gonna
our
get in the
relationship.
album?
So it starts with
Guess what? I
I
love
also
you.
have voicemails in there, so that sort of helps narrate the good times. So side A, if you get it on the record, side A is the love story. So it starts with Meet Me.
Mm-hmm.
It's about having our long distance relationship. There's a lot of themes of that. The love story. There's a fun song called Paranoid in Paradise about the time I tried to smoke weed with Howard and just lost my shit. Uh, there's, I don't know if we're allowed to swear on this one, but
yeah. Go
yeah,
for it.
definitely lost
You'll
my
never
shit.
be filthier than Romaine.
Okay.
You're allowed to say
And
whatever you
so then
want.
the end of side A is a song called Forever Again, which I wrote to sort of quell the fears that we both had about putting our hearts on the line again. And we had been engaged. And so he had been divorced, and I had been separated from an engagement. So Forever Again is sort of my way of saying it's going to be okay. Like, we can do this. And then when you flip the record, side B starts with a song called Beautiful Mess. which is about the sort of the chaos in my head about what was going on and the disorientation about Howard's diagnosis. Then there's some really tough songs dealing with loss and grief. And then through the 2.5 years of this project, I started to notice some things that were changing my perspective on what's next. I'm not here to change anyone's thoughts on the afterlife, but I definitely, for me, believe that there's something after this because of the things that I've missed, the synchronicities, the ways I feel like Howard reached out to me in that time. And so then it really turned the end of the book and the album into these songs for hope. So it's sort of a reframing of the love story in a sense that it's not over. That I do believe that I'll get to see or interact inside with Howard again.
Now, it is. Now, when you completed the album, you have a Patreon
I mean, that's
that
lovely. I
people
love
can
that.
subscribe
Oh,
and join.
thanks for the shout out.
Shameless plug. But on your Patreon, you opened it up to your fans to ask them what they thought would be the first single. So what did they choose, and did that choice surprise you?
It did because they picked a song that I didn't want to put on the album. It was this, yeah, it's just this little cute ditty. It was basically just a chorus, like a little hook. And I called
Oh,
Howard to
wow.
tell him I was excited to come see him on one of our rendezvous, and he didn't pick up the phone, but I had a guitar by, and I just like played him this cute little thing. And when I saw him, he said, "That song was really cute. You should do something with it. You should develop it." And at that point, I was doing this sort of like brass band kind of New Orleans feel thing, and I didn't feel like it fit in there, and so I shelved it. And then as I was putting the album together, I thought I would just take that little voice memo and just put it in there. I did that with a couple of tracks, and that seemed like one that would be a good little 30-second interlude. But I was really pitchy because my voice isn't super accurate. I do the best I can. The internet is very hard on me, but I've done the lessons. I put the time in. This is what I have. I can't do any better. So I just thought, I'll re-record it. I'll just do acoustic guitar and vocal, and we'll make it presentable. And uh, something just kept nudging me. It was like, this is fun. Maybe it needs a verse. Maybe it needs another verse. Sent it to my drummer back in Nashville. I was like, put some drums at the end of this. And it just kept feeling like it wasn't done yet. So it ended up becoming a full production, not just a little voice memo interlude. And then, as you said, good shout out to my Patreon. They're my inner circle. I always run stuff by them. So I played them the whole album when it was done and just said, what do you think the single should be? It was unanimous. Like everybody who weighed in said On My Way. And I was like, of course. Like that's exactly. Yes, exactly.
Sounds like you should just always listen to the advice that Howard gave you because
No,
clearly he was onto
Now
something.
you're being very hard on your voice here. So, is this just part of you being self-deprecating, or
No,
pushing yourself always to be better? Where is this coming from?
it's scientific. I'm just not a very accurate singer. I work so hard on it. I have like an app that you do the scales and the exercises and things, and it shows you where your pitch is. And it's like, I've gotten so much better. I've worked really hard since 2007 to have better pitch accuracy. And all along the way, teachers have told me, professional voices are like, well, you kind of sound like Tom Waits, like Randy Newman, like these guys, like it's okay if you're pitchy. And I'm like, I love like Otis Redding, like Nina Simone, like soul music. Like these people are pitch perfect. And I know, uh-huh, yeah, yeah,
Don't pitch perfect people just piss you off though, because it's like,
yeah.
how the fuck, because I'm a
You
singer
have to
too,
work
so
at it.
I know exactly what you're
Yeah,
talking
like
about. And it's
Beyonce
like, you
couldn't
know what, these
sing
people
a
could just
certain
do
note if
pitch
she
perfect
tried.
shit. I'm just like, fuck you.
Like there are
I'm
people
like
out
you.
there
You
that
have to
just
work
can't.
hard to
They
get
just
to
hear
get
they're
good
in
sometimes.
that world, and I can express myself adequately on piano,
Right.
but when it comes to my voice, that was sort of just like a necessity. My bands kept breaking up, and I was like, if I'm not singing, I'm not going to be able to do this forever. So Yeah, so I've been working on it. I do feel comfortable with it, but I know that I need to do a lot of takes. So yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
you s-
yeah,
Yeah, you
yeah.
sound very hard on yourself. Romaine is a singer, like all the
Nothing
time.
wrong with
Our
that.
listeners,
Nothing
because
wrong with that,
we get
honestly.
together and we do
Sometimes that's how it
cruises
is,
and
and that's
we
okay.
do karaoke. And Romaine really does the karaoke because she can sing and she does a really good job. And
Nice.
she has her like go-to songs that she knows to get a kill every time, right? And but I cannot sing. But all the time, the listeners want us to like duet,
Oh,
and it's probably never going to happen. But because like I wish that I could sing, but I have this problem. I
It's
can
never
get,
gonna happen, by the way.
two or
Never.
three notes in, and then it's like they're drifting away in the air. Like I can't get back to where
yeah.
they're like, where are you going? I'm still over here. And so I think even with years of training and practice, I'll still never be able to sing.
But different singers sing different
Mm,
ways, Derek. Like for me, and this is
yeah.
something that I know about myself. When I'm singing, I have to be able to hear the music very clearly. Otherwise,
Same.
I go wherever
Uh,
the fuck my.
yeah.
I
And how
just
are
go
you
places.
with
I go.
people
I
who
lose
harmonize
tempo.
with
I
you?
lose all kind. If I can't hear the monitors, I'm
Yeah.
fucked because
Yeah.
I sing by ear.
Same. So in my band, yeah, I would
They
piss
always
off my
fuck
bass
me
player
up because
who
then I want to
was in
follow
my
them
band months with me. He's like, I can't have you in my
every
monitor
time. Because again, I sing with my
because
ears.
yeah,
Yep.
we're we're sponges. We're just soaking up the things around
Yep.
us
Can't
and
do it
then
because if I
losing
hear you, then I'm
ourselves
going to
in
follow.
that
I'm like, oh,
process.
oh, that sounds good. Let me go there. Yeah, I'm the same way. It drives me crazy.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But people who don't sing and don't like who don't sing with their ears, like because I literally say I sing with my ears, and because that's literally how I do it. And
no,
like I've worked with other instrumentalists, like
yeah.
piano
You
players and
know,
stuff,
I noticed
and they're
that with
like,
Randy Newman.
I
He's
noticed
got
that
this great
when you start going off, if I
songbook
just played a
that's
little bit of the
just,
melody, you would right back on. I'm like, yeah,
70
because I'm
tracks or
singing
something
with
of
my
just him and
ears.
piano. And I noticed so many times he's playing his melody in the right hand. And this is like Randy Newman, like one of the greats. And he's even said in interviews that he won't hold a note because then he feels like he loses it. So that's that
Mm-hmm.
talk sing that he does is just to like hit
Yep.
the note and then move on to the next one. And that made me feel so much better because I often on piano my part will
Uh-huh.
be the melody. So I have like training wheels. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Oh
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah, because
Well,
sometimes
I
that's
have
just what you
to,
need, and depending on the
I'm fortunate
environment
because
you're
I'm not
in,
also a
oh,
songwriter. So, I'm not a
can really
songwriter and I
change
can't
things.
sing. So I'm not like feeling left out. But like I watched the Diane Warren documentary and she's not a good singer. And when she has to go and sell her songs, like she has to make her own demos on the song. And she had a whole story about how Cher didn't want to do one of her songs. So she's like, this song
Oh
sucks. And it's like, no, it's me. I suck. You have to sing the song yourself. I promise it's in there. You'll hear
yeah.
it. So I think it is a challenge for songwriters because, you want to be able to, what you're trying to say on paper
Mhm.
and you want to be able to say it out
Right.
loud, with the
Right.
voice. And if it's not, if it's not what you're hearing in your head, then yes, I can understand just wanting to put your head down.
Yeah. Yeah. I do. I feel like I'm finally at the point where I can. I mean, on this record in particular, there's such a dynamic range, and I whisper at times, and then there's like pretty animated belting, and so I feel like I'm finally at the point where I can represent the underlying song the way I want. It just takes time. It takes a lot of time. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. A buddy of mine that does sound at a place I
Have
used
you
to play in
ever written a
Chicago all the
song
time.
and you hear someone else's
I
voice
just
singing
came
it
in to
and
see him
think,
play
"Oh
and he
God, I
saw
wish
me
so
and
and
he
so
did
could
one of
sing
my
this song."
songs and I was like, oh, that's the way it's supposed to sound. Yeah.
Now, I feel like when Howard Bragman first died,
Yeah,
uh,
that's
I
awesome.
feel like in one of the interviews that I saw that you didn't you didn't immediately write new original material. So in your like, what was your grief process like as a creative person? Because you've talked about the fact that, being creative, writing the book, writing these songs was really helpful for you. But I feel like, and you can elaborate, it's your experience, that initially that was difficult for you. That was a
Yeah,
struggle.
I think the emotions were still so strong and overwhelming that I couldn't come up with words. It's a very difficult place to be when writing. At least for me, I find that I have to sort of be past the worst of it, at least be able to see my way out of the storm to write anything that I feel like is valuable. I think because you're just going through so much, it's hard to be objective at that point. And so I did sketch out the song that eventually became So Hard to Let Go. But other than that, I just couldn't. And um, so I thought, let's do a tribute record, a covers album. And so I took, some Leon Russell, some Randy Newman, some of the artists that we listen to all the time. He had told me once, you should cover this Paul Simon deep cut called Something So Right. Gorgeous song and crazy time signature. And Paul Simon is like an alien. He's just so brilliant. So I just didn't. I was like, I can't do this song. But I had a mission then when Howard had passed, and so I learned it and I put it on the album as best I could. He asked me very early on if I ever covered Hallelujah, and I said I can, but I don't because that song there's just so much in the canon of music of like I saw that you all interviewed Katie Lang. Uh, Her
Yeah.
version is Howard's favorite, and there's a very tender moment in the book regarding her version. And it's like, there, why does anyone need another version of Hallelujah? But Howard's whole thing, amplifying people's voices, and so he told me, he's like, well, when you do it, it's going to be different. It's not going to be like everybody else's. Like, use your voice, make it yours. And I was like, oh. So I finally did that. So it was a way for me to be creative without writing
Right.
and put my stamp on these songs. And oh my God, it was excruciating. It was like I haven't cried that much recording an album ever, and thank God I can record myself because that would be super awkward for an engineer in a studio to be like, I guess we're taking another break. So
I mean, I don't know. So I'm an audio engineer. I actually think I don't think it would be awkward at all. I actually think, as you've said so many times so eloquently, there's a lot of emotion that goes into art. And when you're singing, and like sometimes the most amazing songs come from super vulnerable places. Like I think about Christina Aguilera's cover, her song Beautiful. And at the beginning of it, you hear her whisper, "Don't look at me." And there's a vulnerability that was happening with her in that studio that was
yeah,
so unbelievably beautiful, and yet it got captured on audio.
you're
It
right.
got
Yeah,
captured in this moment, and as the audience we get to share in that
yeah,
what was a very vulnerable moment for
like
her, and it made that song
yeah.
so much more.
So like if I were
So I mean,
engineering
as an
it, it's
engineer,
like
I guess I
Romaine's
would
on the
say no,
floor
those are the
crying.
moments you
Hit
pray
record.
for. Those are when you get that kind of emotional vulnerability, when you
Yeah,
get to share in those
like I
moments.
get.
That's powerful shit.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, crying
Yeah, yeah, because
can
you
be a
never
big
know
part of
what you're
grief,
gonna get.
and you have referenced
I
many
take
times crying.
roll tape.
So, were you always a crier, or is crying a later in life development
I'm a
for you?
man. I'm not a crier. No. Yeah, I'm very emotional. Yeah, I've always been emotional. But I think that this sort of took it to a new place where it became something that was nearly dangerous. I was really grateful that my sister was there to work me through some of this because I didn't recognize that I was having panic attacks. Um, and I was sort of raised that way of like, just deal with it. I played football. I was like, in this small town in Ohio where it was sort of like, blue collar sort of vibe where it's just like, just work hard, drink a beer, go to sleep, do it again. So I didn't recognize what that was. And my sister helped me, and I saw therapy, and I didn't really want to medicate because I've seen what that's done to people in my family. But there were a couple moments where I was like, I just couldn't function. So I needed a Xanax, and it worked. And then I did my best to never have it again because I didn't want to go down that path. But there were a couple moments where it's just like, I thought I was having a heart attack. So it got overwhelming, and I was just glad that my sister was there to help me figure out what was happening to me.
Mostly because I like sneak up behind her and scare her, and her wife does too.
I mean,
And
I
so
have to
she's
say, I
constantly
appreciate
in
that
a
you're willing
world
to
of
share
terror.
that kind of
That's true.
information
Yeah.
because I too suffer from panic attacks from time to time, and
Yeah.
they do that a lot. Yes. No, but I think that it's the kind of thing that it's a lot more common than people maybe know about or recognize.
Mhm.
And I think that it's only by talking about it, by sharing stories, do we
Yeah.
normalize the fact that this is happening to a lot of people, and we normalize that it's okay to A, acknowledge it, B, to treat it, and and to come up with ways to
Mhm.
live with it, or through it. And,
Right. Yeah,
I
it
think
can
that's
be
a
hard.
really important thing, especially as we have
Yeah,
a lot of
absolutely.
conversations about mental health and things like that in the country right now. You have to acknowledge when you're
Yes.
struggling. Like, it's okay to say, I'm struggling right now and I need a little help.
That's
And so
right.
many people are afraid to do that, especially with grief, because grief is hard. Like, grief is like, I kind of
Mhm.
consider myself a grief expert because I've dealt with a lot of grief in my lifetime, probably more than the average person at my age. But grief is one of those
Yeah.
things that it's not just one emotion, it's all the emotions. And the only way through grief is literally through it. You can't go around it, you can't dodge it. Like, you have to just go through it. You have to get
Mhm.
all the way through it. And you feel like even when you got to the end and you're like, okay, I'm good now, there's going to be something that's going to
Right.
blindside you,
And
that's going to
it's
hit you out of nowhere
and
10
it's not
years
linear,
later.
and it's
And you're going to
different
be
for
like, oh
everyone, which
shit.
makes it
And you're going to
really
feel all
hard
those
to
feelings
treat,
again. And,
or to advise
again, it's,
people.
we all have
Everybody
to
just
suffer
sort of
through
has to
grief at
walk
some
their own
point in our
path
lives.
with
Nobody
it.
can avoid grief. It's a shared thing.
Yeah. I had a similar experience to you, and so in preparing for this and everything was,
Mm-hmm.
in the parlance of younger people,
Yeah.
triggering
Mhm.
for me. But I was thinking about it, and and for you, Howard died in 2023,
Mhm.
right? And for me, my experience was in
Oh.
2021, and in my head, I was thinking, oh, even though it was 5 years ago, it feels like yesterday. But I was like, actually, no, it doesn't feel like yesterday. It feels like
Mhm.
tomorrow. And the way for me that it feels like tomorrow is like being a kid and it's Sunday, but you have to go to school on Monday and you have a test
Mhm.
there. Like, no matter what you're doing, no matter how much fun you're having or whatever, it's waiting
Yeah.
for you. Like, this thing that you're dreading is waiting for you tomorrow. And so for me, that's how it's really been. And I know it is not good to have your past informing your future. But for me, that's a lot of how grief shows up. It shows up as tomorrow, not yesterday. And sometimes not even
Yeah, that's a
today.
really insightful way of putting it. I hadn't heard that description before, but that really makes sense.
Because I just made it up.
Yeah, that's valuable. That's very insightful. Because to me, it felt like if I were going to
Mm-hmm.
categorize it musically, at first it was like the grief was this like drum solo, or it's like overwhelming, and it's like I can't do anything else. But then it just becomes like a low bass note. Like it's almost like in the next room. It's like it's always there. Uh, you just never know when it's gonna kind of speak up, but it's always there. Yeah,
I know. All right. Well, let us. I wanted to mention something since you brought up Katie Lang. We did have her on our
yeah.
show. It was a real treat. And one of the highlights, Romaine and I have been at this for
such
23
an
years,
uplifting
like too
topic.
long. And just ask around, ask our listeners. They know it's too long. Anyway, we've been at this for 23 years.
She's amazing.
And I think I can speak for both of us when I say like one of the highlights, if not the highlight, was the two of us went to the gay rodeo in Reno, and Katie Lang was performing there, and we saw Katie Lang. That was like a perfect weekend.
Fantastic.
For a lot of reasons. Romaine just found out she was pregnant on that weekend. Nice. And we saw Katie Lang. The McRib was back. Oh my God, we had the best time.
All the things.
Yeah, but like we were in the rodeo and we were sitting in the stands with our hot chocolate. It was a little like chilly fall day, and like we had our little hot chocolate, our coats on. It was like perfect. Everything about it was perfect.
We went to the Bunny
see Katie
Ranch.
Lang. She was performing that weekend.
We had a lot of fun that weekend.
And we saw Katie Lang. We had great seats on the aisle. And but here's the thing that you, as a singer, songwriter, musician, will appreciate. So Katie Lang came out and she performed barefoot.
Oh, okay.
And which, fine, barefoot. And fantastic, great, her with the band and everything. But one thing that we both noticed while she was performing was that she would keep time with her big toe.
Whoa. Okay.
Like part of why, not her whole foot, just her big toe.
Cool.
She was like keeping time with her big toe. And I became obsessed with watching her big toe while she was performing. And I assume that's why she does it shoeless, because like
not her whole
time.
Foot, just
so
the big toe.
I have to have my toe free to keep
the
time.
tempo toe. It's important. I am trying to move my big toe independently of the rest of my toes currently. It's not happening.
She's got a gift.
Yeah. Wow. It's like her metronome.
Yes.
Metronome toe. Yeah, it's important. Now this is what I'm focusing on.
Good luck.
Sorry, the interview's over.
But also, I feel like,
I don't know how
what?
she does it.
In
It's
the
kinda
future,
wild.
I feel like you might, like, right before a show, take your shoes off, get on out there, see how it goes.
I feel like you have to be a specific artist to pull off barefoot.
Now you just know
you
he's
either
just
need
wiggling
to be
his toe.
like
he's just wiggling his toe.
like a goddess like Katie Lang, or like beach bum like Jimmy Buffett. Where is the middle? I don't know.
Now, musically, you have had a lot of influences and interests across genres. When you were in high school, you were into grunge.
I agree.
And so at this point,
there's some people I don't think could pull it off.
Who is your biggest influence, or do you really find yourself shifting around from artist to artist and genre to genre?
Yeah, I shift constantly. I always have. That's when my first band I called Mutts, and we live in this algorithm cesspool of a culture that you need to sort of lock into a thing, and that's not where I thrive. So yeah, I have this playlist called Mixed Reality. So it's like every time I hear a song that sounds awesome, I throw it on there. And then I have a Creative Juice playlist that's like anything that's kind of wacky and off the wall that I need to sort of trigger my creativity goes on that one. And they're all over the map. So, but I think the constants, if I were to look for a thread, would be Fiona Apple, St. Vincent, Tom Waits. These are people who I think are just so creative and don't really stick into one lane. Like you can't really put them in a box. So those are three, I think, of my top artists. Mm-hmm. So hard. They're like I didn't. What's is the one with the green cover?
So
Extraordinary
my daughter
Machine.
recently asked me
When I heard
Fiona
it,
Apple,
I was like,
was my favorite.
But
album.
then after Fetch the Bolt Cutters came out, and by the way, I sat with Fetch the Bolt Cutters all day.
I know.
It was like, surprise, it's pandemic. Here's a new Fiona Apple record. I was like, oh my God, I'll cancel everything. And this is how I knew that my fiance was not the one for me. I'm sitting here listening to this record all day thinking like, this is changing my life. It's so awesome. And he goes, eh. And I was like, you're not the one for me. But then after I just, had this Fiona Apple deep dive. An Extraordinary Machine, I put it on, I was like, oh my God, this record is so brilliant too.
Oh no.
So I think they're all incredible in their own way. I would have to say Fetch the Bolt Cutters is my favorite of all. What about you? Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Nice. I mean, I'm a
Right.
title. For me, that one is like, there's so many songs on there that I just
And it's
so,
that it has that
so relate to.
lightning in a bottle that,
And I think, for
even if
me, I
you're
just
the
will
most
always,
brilliant
like, that will
artist in the
always be
world,
my
it's
album.
hard to
I
recreate
think probably because
all
it's
of
how I
the
discovered her, but
emotions of that
also, like,
like seminal record.
I mean, there's some songs on there that I'm just like, yeah,
Now, Mike,
I
what
get it.
is next for you? You are out on the road.
Mhm.
You're promoting the album and the book. So,
Hmm.
how is it? Because
Yeah.
this is airing. We
Yeah.
didn't warn you in advance.
Yeah.
We record these things in advance, and we usually tell people like when it's going to be airing, so we can pretend like it's actually happening when it's happening. But anyway, we're recording this in March,
Yeah.
but it will be running near the end of April. And
Okay.
so you can't promote any of the dates that are already on your website. But I do know that
All
you
right.
have you are doing book events and performances coming up.
Yeah.
So how is it for you as a performer doing like a book event versus like doing a concert?
It's the most unique and difficult, but also rewarding show I've ever done. Getting to play some big festivals and legendary venues. This is like a small room with a group of people sharing my soul in the form of the songs and then short readings from the book. It's just it's transformative. I've never felt a connection like this. So uh, after the show, talking to people, signing books and records, and just hearing other people's stories, the way mine has resonated with them. Yeah, it's been incredible. I'm doing an event at the Spectrum Center at the University of Michigan in September that I'm really looking forward to because that was where Howard went, and he's been very active with the Spectrum Center, which was the first LGBTQ plus organization in the country. I think it started in '71, so it's a historic one as well. So there's a couple of like key moments that I'm really looking forward to on the tour, and I'm just gonna keep adding dates as I go. Which for me is like the indie musician in me was like, oh my God, you don't have like 90 dates all back to back. But having done some of these shows, I couldn't do that. Like it's such an emotional show that I need to rest after it. And so I think having it be a slow burn is actually more fitting.
I think that's good. Yeah. And you have
Right.
always you've spent a lot of time performing live and in public, but you used to be near as I can tell kind of shut down and shy as a kid. So
That makes sense.
has how has this been for you? Has this gotten you out of your shell, or do you sometimes still see yourself as kind of a shy person?
I'm definitely a shy person still because, and that's sort of the yin and the yang with me and Howard. He is just so outgoing and he was so natural at it, and I use the piano and performing as a way as an icebreaker. Like I want to talk to people, but I just don't feel like they want to talk to me, and so I just sort of like shut down and I think I have like resting angry face, so people don't like approach me. Well, I'm talking to you and I'm enjoying myself, so I'm smiling. But if I'm just like in it, hold on, let me see. Yeah. So yeah, I'm not, and I actually just heard
I
this
don't think you have
definition
resting
yesterday.
angry
I think it was
face.
like the Trevor Noah podcast, and he was talking about like introverts, people who are entertainers
Oh yeah,
or
okay,
whatever,
I
and
can see it.
describe
Yeah,
themselves
there's
as
some angry face
introverts.
there.
People
That's a
get
little
like this
scary.
this eye roll reaction, like you're on stage. How can you be an introvert? But he was saying it's not about your ability to be in public; it's about the energy flow. And an introvert will be completely drained by a public interaction, whereas an extrovert thrives off of it. Like they get energy off of that. And so I think for me, because of the emotional nature of this show, plus me being an introvert, I'm just like, I need to I go home and I'm just hibernate.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
I totally get that. There's a lot of comedians that are that way. When you meet them, they're not what you expect them to be because their
Mhm.
personality only comes out on stage. Right? Like, I think a great example, we've talked to her many times, but like Margaret Cho
Okay.
is a good example of this. And I think even Ellen DeGeneres is a great example of this. People who off mic, off camera,
Yeah.
But
off
I
stage.
mean, also a big part of it
they're
is
chilly,
you know,
almost
with
chilly. Like you think,
comedians,
oh, they don't
people
seem
expect
very
you to be
nice.
funny all
But
the
then
time.
you put them
And
on
sometimes
stage
people
and
don't
all of
have
a sudden
funny
this
things to
whole
say.
different thing
There's
happens.
also
Mhm.
there's a
And
difference
who they really
between
are comes out, or
like
who part of them is
performing,
comes out in a way
which
that you
is
don't
you're
see
at
in
the
just everyday
center
day-to-day
of everyone's
interactions.
attention, and being social, which is a communal form of attention where you have a little attention, then
Mhm.
somebody else has some attention and whatever else,
Right.
and it's going back and forth. You know, sometimes somebody
True.
is the life of the party, but everybody's at the party. Like it's you know, it is a different
Yeah.
thing. And so I think that for comedians, but for other performers, especially sort of like solo-ish performers, which I would put even somebody who is fronting a band, even though obviously they're, you know, they are in a communal experience with the band, they are in a lot of ways, the solo experience with the audience.
Mhm.
But that's just a very different thing than being social. And sometimes, and a lot of introverts are like, you know, I'm fine one-on-one. I'm fine in front of a crowd. I cannot deal with 6 people at a dining table. Like, you know,
Mhm.
so it's different skills in different places. And I think a lot of comedians, it's harder for them to be social and
Yeah.
socialize than to be on stage or even to be like one-on-one from
For
from
sure.
our experience.
Yeah. I think that makes sense to me too. And it's interesting at the merch table, if there'll be like a group of people talking, I tend to sort of withdraw, and it's like I'm not the center of attention ever unless I'm on a stage with a spotlight on me.
Yeah.
So in those like medium, dinner party group of 6 to 8 people, I'm always like I just like get in there with a little comment and then I'm out. I wait until I have something like, this is something that I have to say. And then I'm in there. I'm out.
Well, I'm glad that you could break out of your shell and join us and chat about your book and your music. And people should check you out on the web to see your upcoming dates, because I will imagine that by the time this airs, people will see brand new dates available on your
Uh-huh.
website.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's funny.
Yeah.
But Mike Maimone, thanks so much for being with us. And people should check out Mike on the web, MikeMaimonemusic.com. And he is Mike Maimone Music on Instagram and Facebook.
It's just, I have to, it's just MikeMaimone.com. Mike Maimone Music on all the
Oh, for crying
things.
out loud.
I imagine you're right.
MikeMaimone.com is the website. Although I could run out and
I
grab
fucked it up, but
You know
I
what?
saved it to the end.
I'm just going to go out and grab that domain and I'll forward it and it's going to be fine. We'll fix it in post.
Let me tell you something. Our biggest regret is that we were like slow into the web and social media and everything. So we are literally different in
Oh, way
every
to go,
single
Derek.
place.
Okay.
And it's horrible. No one can ever find anything.
Yeah.
People email us of like, you mentioned on the show, XYZ. I can't find it. It's like we're in too many places. It's too many names. Even when I'm trying to like find our social media, I'm like, well, which one is this one? Oh, it's terrible.
Okay.
It's really terrible.
Oh,
So
no.
anyway, but you got close to all of them the same. So,
Yeah.
good for you. 2 out of 3 ain't bad, as the song says.
Working on it. Yeah. Well, you guys, Derek, Romaine, thank you so much for having me. This was just a great conversation. I really appreciate you guys.
Well, there you have it. The end of another perfect episode of Derek and Romaine. And if you want more great fun, go to dnrstudios.com and subscribe to get our show every day. And don't forget, for DNR Plus subscribers, you can use the DNR Cast app for iPhone, available now in the App Store.